Hello there, this is Welsh ASMR 82. Hey, how you doing? So, in this video, I think I'll just do whispering only, as a couple of you have requested it recently. And we're going to take a look at a video in one of my series of top 10s. So I did recently World Cup top 10s, and now we're looking at Premier League top 10s. So I've done the categories of goalkeeper, defender, midfielder, striker, and youngster. I've also done most underachieving as well, for fun. I hope you enjoy that one. Oh, and lastly, I did the top 10 managers as well. So I hope you enjoy the video. Don't forget to drop a comment, and if you disagree or agree with anything I say, I love seeing your comments, and I respond to every single one, so keep them coming. Thank you so much. Okay, so Premier League top 10s, let's start. So goalkeepers, now this is just my opinion and it changes like every 5 minutes. I did this about a week ago and I've probably changed my mind 3 times on all of them since, so I've left them as they are. Here we go. Number 10, Bazunu from Southampton. Lots of you have told me all about him, and you've all said how good he is, so thanks for the tip off for that one. I watched some highlights from a couple of weeks ago and he had an excellent game and I thought he was brilliant. Number 9, Pickford for Everton. So much so that there's a rumour that Spurs are going to try and go in for Pickford in the summer, in fact, to replace their goalkeeper who's not doing too well, Lloris. Number 8, Arrizabalaga. I watched Chelsea a couple of times this season, and I think that after a very difficult start, Arrizabalaga is doing a lot better now. So he gets onto the list. Number 7, Danny Ward, honorary Welshman. He's still doing pretty well for Leicester, and gaming him out, he's not letting them down. He's not a superstar goalkeeper or anything. I don't think he'll be as good as Schmeichel was for them, but he's really decent anyway. Number 6, Raya for Brentford. Brentford into the top 6 this weekend, playing out of their skins this season, and obviously you need to have a good defence and a good goalkeeper to do that, so he gets into the list. Henderson has been injured, and so they've got in Keylor Navas, but up to that point I think he's been outstanding for Forest this season, and actually I think he's making a case for being England number 1. Next up is Edison of Man City, just excellent as usual. Obviously the way they play means that he has to pass out to feet, and sometimes it backfires, so sometimes when there's a goal he looks, and his defenders look ridiculous, but that's just the way they play, and they're willing for that to happen. Number 3, De Gea of Man United, having a really good season after a terrible start. First couple of games of the season were just terrible, awful, but yeah, he's doing really well, and I think he's going to sign a new deal to stay with him a bit longer, so he makes number 3 on the list. Number 2, Ramsdale from Arsenal. Part of Arsenal's fantastic season is the fact that they have got rid of their dodgy goalkeepers, and he is such a... he can be a bit eccentric sometimes, and he wants to rush out and get in on the action. I think he probably is going to get sent off at some point this season, but for the moment, number 2 and number 1, Pope for Newcastle. So it's really good to see so many Englishmen getting onto this list. Part of Newcastle's massive success is their lack of goals against them, the lack of goals conceded, and obviously a very good defence is part of that, and definitely the goalkeeper, so Pope, is doing a wonderful job. Do you agree? Write a comment. Okay, best defenders. So I've put down number 10 as Fast for Leicester. I know he scored those 2 own goals against Liverpool a couple of weeks back, but I still think he organises the Leicester defence really well, and you know, everyone has a bad day. They were doing a highlight reel on Match of the Day on TV a couple of weeks back, maybe before the World Cup in fact, come to think of it, about the differences that he's made since coming into the massive. His interceptions, his organisation of the back line, everything is just fantastic, so he's good. Boone for Newcastle, really good player, really tall for a wing back actually, and also I saw him score the other week as well, so I was making this PowerPoint that week and thought he definitely gets in for that reason alone. Nice for him to be playing for his hometown club as well. Number 8, as I've stated before, despite Chelsea's sort of bizarre season, I think Koulibaly has just been fantastic from day one. Day one where he scored a goal, incidentally. So yeah, Koulibaly for me gets on the list. He's been, you know, he's won not just for this season, but he'll be great for the next 3-4 seasons as well. Silva of Chelsea also makes the list. I was watching them play, and he's just a genius, and I think that he could keep playing. When they said they were signing him at his age, how old is he again now? Is he like 35, 36? I thought, oh god, that's a step backwards, you should never. And then I saw him and I thought, oh, the guy is just class. Yeah, so clever, very difficult to replace. Next, Shaw for Man United. Really good, obviously going forward as well as backwards, but I watched him the other week play in a central defensive position, and to be honest, he was fine. So yeah, he's very versatile, and I just think that he's had a good season for Man United this year. Another player who's actually playing out of position is White for Arsenal. He's usually a centre-back, but they're playing him as a right-back, and to be honest, he's done fantastically well this season. Very solid, good going forward, and very good in the air. Number 4, Botman for Newcastle, as I was talking about with regards to their excellent run that they're on, the fact that they're not conceding goals. So I put in Boone at number 9, but Botman and his influence gets in. I possibly could have even included the other defenders, but I thought, well, give someone else a chance. But yeah, Botman makes my list. He's come in and he's just been fantastic since he's new to the club as well, and the division. He's done brilliantly. Number 3, Alexander Zinchenko, the Ukrainian international. Used to play for Man City, now playing for Arsenal. He is a revelation, and the way that he comes in from left back and dips in and sticks in midfield and is creative, and he doesn't get down the line that much on the left hand side, but he comes in and makes up extra numbers in midfield and passes the ball, runs with the ball, tackles. He's just a magnificent player, absolutely world class. Another Newcastle player. I mean, they've got one of the best defences in the league, to be fair, so is Trippier, not just because of his defensive capabilities, but the number of assists he's got this season, his ability to take set pieces, free kicks, for example, corners, and his crosses into the box are just absolutely superb. He's having a brilliant, brilliant season. And number 1, I put Gabriel for Arsenal. But I just wanted to put an Arsenal defender in there because it's lovely seeing Arsenal have a decent defence. I remember watching them the last few years under Arsene Wenger and thinking, oh my goodness, what is going on with the defensive coach? What are they doing? So I just had to put one of the defenders, but to be honest, it could have been the other central defender. But yeah, I think Arsenal are the most improved side in defence this season, and the second most improved are Newcastle. Okay, midfielders. So I got a bit confused when I was doing this about what counts as a midfielder, because is a winger a striker now, or a midfielder? So yeah, this kind of is a bit of a mix and match. Number 10, Maddison. I know he's not in the side at the moment, I think he's carrying an injury, but prior to the World Cup he was, after Kevin De Bruyne, the player in the entire division with the most goals and assists of any player, and that meant that he was number 1 of all English nationality players. So Maddison makes the list. More for the season as a whole. Southampton, despite being absolutely appalling this season, Ward-Prowse is world class. His set pieces, his ability to get forward, get back, He's a midfield engine. His free kicks are amazing. His corners, his crosses. He is wonderful. Number 8, probably most improved of the season, is Granit Xhaka of Arsenal. Really, really impressive. More attacking role for him at the minute, so he's getting goals but crosses as well, getting into the box from a wide left position very often. Really impressed with him and the change that he has done. He's playing more like he does for his national team now. Number 7, Guimarães of Newcastle. The Brazilian's range of passing is phenomenal. I was watching him play, and every time he gets the ball, he's facing the opponents. He's never playing with his back to goal. He always plays with his face up, head up, and he'll look left, look right, and he'll spray passes. Through balls are amazing. Yeah, he's class. Number 6, Fernandes, especially in the period since Ronaldo has left. I think that the positioning of Ronaldo didn't allow Fernandes to play his best game, and he, I think, was feeling obligated to pass when in previous seasons he's shot and he can shoot from anywhere. He's phenomenal. So yeah, he's getting back to his best. Thomas Partey of Arsenal in number 5. I love his shots from distance. He's spectacular, but mostly it's just his closing down and harrying of any person on the ball in that midfield area. Fantastic. Number 4, also Arsenal, Martin Ødegaard. Again, brilliant at set pieces, scoring, shooting from distance, but his range of passing, his ability to carry the ball in tight dribbling, near, not carry the ball in the midfield area, but in and around the opponent's box, is just phenomenal. He does fade in the last 15 minutes of matches and needs to come off, but for 75 minutes he gives you just a stellar, absolute world-class performance. Number 3, Casemiro. He's come in, and I really thought that they'd made a mistake. A 30-year-old coming in on a multi-million-pound contract. I think it's a 5-year contract. I thought, oh god, he's going to be on the bench, they won't be able to get rid of him. And he's come in and he's just changed the team from top to bottom completely. He is at the heart of everything good that they do, and he deserves a heck of a lot of plaudits for the improvement that Man United have had this season. Number 2 is Almiron. Now remember, this is for the season as a whole, not like this month or anything. And as such, I think Almiron is probably one of the, if not most improved, along with Xhaka, but definitely there. His dribbling, his shooting, his passing, his chasing down is just magnificent, and he's made, someone was talking who didn't realise the previous seasons that he's had. We were having a conversation about Almiron, and they didn't know anything about him prior to this season, and they said, they were watching a match with me, and they said, oh my goodness, how are Newcastle going to keep hold of this player? He's amazing. And I was laughing because I was like, oh my god, someone who doesn't know thinks that Almiron is too big a player for Newcastle now. He's played that well. They're expecting him to get snapped up by Barcelona, Real Madrid. That won't happen, because I think he's at the absolute peak, and he'll probably drop form a little bit more, but he's playing that well at the moment that someone who doesn't know how poorly he's played in previous seasons thinks of him as an absolute world-class player, and that says everything really to me. So he made number 2 on the list, and he was left out of the team against Spurs today. Don't really know why, but De Bruyne, without doubt, particularly up to the World Cup, was just absolutely on a different level to everyone else. So number 1 for him, absolutely easily, no question. Okay, next up are strikers. So as I got a bit confused and put strikers and wingers in this bit. So Saka of Arsenal, to be honest, I would be tempted to put him much higher. But like I said, I did this a couple of weeks ago, but his form recently has gone up even better. He's better than ever. Number 9, Martinelli. again, maybe I should have put him as number 10, but anyway. And Jesus, who's hopefully going to come back from injury soon, but before the World Cup was playing some phenomenal stuff. Number 7, Leandro Trossard. I put Brighton because he played his best football for Brighton, but has started quite well in an Arsenal shirt. So basically all of Arsenal's front line there. And then Rodrigo, who's unfortunately just broken a bone in his leg the other day in the Cup for Leeds. He had 12 goals this season and was playing brilliantly, so massive, massive loss for a team that have just finished the window to buy someone, so they can't replace him, and are in a dire situation and need goals. So yeah, really, really bad news for them. He's that important to them. Ivan Toney, very much a part of Brentford's success this season. Just a fantastic player, scoring goals for fun. Wonderful. He's less. Do you know what? The thing about Ivan Toney that I was shocked at, he's not actually that tall. He's very lanky, and so I assumed he was tall, but I think he's only about 5'11" or something. I don't even think he's 6 foot. Anyway, Mitrovic, talking about tall. Again, very much a part of the very successful, surprisingly successful season that Fulham have had. Kane for Spurs, just regardless of how bad the team are playing. I think they've sort of turned it around in the last couple of games, in fact. But yeah, he will just keep scoring, even if they're having a bad day, he'll score. So for that reason alone, he deserves to be towards the top, and he's just broken the record. He's now Spurs in history, their greatest goal scorer. Number 2, Rashford. The difference in him this season is night and day compared to previous seasons, or last season particularly. He is phenomenal, and the fact that he's doing some really, he's scoring amazing goals and dribbling around people and through people. His pace has always been magnificent, but now he can do quite close dribbling as well, and a range of finishing. So yeah, he's in wonderful form this season. And of course, number 1 is Haaland. He's actually sort of not been as fantastic since the World Cup, but he's still got something obscene. Was it what they saying? It was like 20 or 30 goals this season in all competitions. That is dirty. That is like unbelievable. So yeah, he definitely, without a doubt, gets in at number 1. Okay, managers. I think Brentford's manager Fonk gets in. Possibly could be higher. But he's doing a brilliant job with Brentford. Unai Emery has started extremely promisingly for Aston Villa. Maybe over the course of the season they'll drop off, but his start was magnificent. Silva for Fulham, I think they play really nice football, really attractive football, and he sets them up in a brilliant way. De Zerbi has come in and carried on what Potter started for Brighton. I assumed they would just fall away, but actually Brighton are probably playing almost as well as they were under De Zerbi as they were under Potter, which is remarkable. Number 6, Cooper for Nottingham Forest. When you consider that they would have been favourites to go down, they signed 1 billion players, and there was just chaos, and the fact that they're actually mid-table and looking pretty decent at the second is a testament. They made it to a semi-final of the Cup. Yeah, just, he's done a fantastic job, and I think being backed by the board and during a difficult time being given a new contract to show faith, I think he's now the manager with the best win ratio in the Premier League, or maybe of just generally for Nottingham Forest in their history. So I think he's got better win percentage than Clough, which is remarkable when you think about it. So yeah, well done to the board for supporting him. It makes a nice change, doesn't it? And then next, Potter. Oh, sorry, no, it jumped on Howe. Eddie Howe probably could be higher. I put Potter in because defensively fantastic. And Newcastle are doing brilliantly. I do kind of feel that they're definitely going to Europe. And the longer it goes on, the more convinced I am that that could be the Champions League. So he's definitely earned his top 5 place. Potter, we'll see how the season goes. Maybe he can turn Chelsea around. If he can, then he should be number 1. Ten Hag come in, an impossible job trying to get success from Man United after what Fergie did for them years ago. But you know what? He's doing a great job, and he stamped his authority, got rid of Ronaldo. So yeah, he's definitely on the higher end of the list. And of course Guardiola for just being Mr. Consistent with Man City. And Arteta, a couple of, I think it was about 18 months ago, I said, like, sack him. It's just ridiculous. They're not getting anywhere. There's no direction. What's the plan? And all of a sudden, you know, they're 5 points ahead of the top of the league. So definitely gets number 1 for me. Okay, the top 10 list of underachievers this season. So I put Coutinho in at number 10, a player who was 100 million a couple of seasons ago. Just, you know, I can't see where that player's gone. It's really unbelievable, the difference in him. He's lost all confidence. So yeah, Coutinho for Villa at number 10. Hopefully he can pick it back up under the new manager. Calvin Phillips for Man City. Guardiola said that he was overweight coming back from an injury, and he's not been playing, so yeah, he must be a bit fed up. So he has gone from Leeds. He's an England international. Was touted as being, you know, just an absolute force in midfield, and he's not playing at all, and is sort of on bad terms with the manager. So he's in number 9. Lingard for Forest. Forest are playing really well, but Lingard, when he comes on and plays, just, you know, compared to the player that was good for Man United a couple of years ago, great for West Ham that season. I don't think he scored a single goal this season. If he has, it's probably been in the cup. He can't pass the ball. He's not connecting with the other players. I just don't know where his head has gone, but Jesse Lingard is not that player anymore. Huge shame. Number 7, Sancho, hasn't been around. He did come back for the cup game, so he's back now, but he was seeing psychologists, and he just, you know, when you, again, another 100 million plus player was destroying defences in Germany, and he's come to Man United and he's really underachieved. Number 6, Souček was unstoppable a couple of years ago for West Ham. I could see him being picked up by a massive club, because he's a player that can do everything in midfield, particularly score. But West Ham are having a bit of a rough season, and I haven't heard him getting any goals this season, so I added him to the list. Number 5, Mohamed Salah for Liverpool. I don't know whether it's because the rest of the team aren't pressing high enough, and so he's not getting given the ball in dangerous situations as much as previously. I think it's got a lot to do with the fact that Sadio Mane has left, and Sadio combined with him and did a lot of the work for him. So yeah, he's had just a abysmal season, to be honest, for his standards, as at one point he was considered possibly one of the top 5 players in the world. He's just not been up to anywhere near that standard. Number 4, Grealish for Man City, another 100 million player. You know, you expect a certain something from a player that you spend that much money on, and he starts to get into the team again now, but he's just basically underwhelmed massively compared to how he was playing at Aston Villa, to be fair, where, you know, fair play to him, he was sensational there. So, number 3, Alexander-Arnold of Liverpool. Both, well, yeah, I just remember watching that Champions League final against Real Madrid in the summer, and him just losing his man, and they scored the only goal of the match. And I thought, I know, he's not that good going backwards, but he's also lost his verb going forwards as well. So the fact that he's not scoring free kick goals that often, his crosses aren't getting into the box, his corners aren't meeting their mark, you know, he was so good going forward that ignored while he was like in defence. But yeah, it's not going well that way either, so I feel really sorry for him. I hope he gets back to good form. I added Ronaldo to the list because obviously for one of the best players in the history of football, he didn't have a great time at Man United, particularly the strops and the interviews and all of that. So yeah, I thought he had a pretty bad time before he left. And then number one, Son. I put him as number one because I really, really like him, and I've watched quite a bit of Spurs this season, and he's just been shocking. Like, he can't pass the ball to another player. He's running with the ball and it's just skipping away from him. He's passing it and his through balls are not going to the right person and they're going to a defender. So I just think that he's had a terrible time, and I really hope in this good bit of form that Spurs are in that he starts to pick up and score goals again. He scored a couple in the cup the other day, and apparently he was all smiles and looking more like himself. So his eye injury's gone away. He doesn't have to wear the mask anymore. Hopefully he'll pick up now and get back to the player he once was. Okay, and lastly, top 10 potential. These are the players that I've looked at so far. So so far, and have really high opinion of. So Nico Williams of Forest. I watched Forest today, and Nico Williams went from playing right back to left wing, up front. He can play anywhere along the wings on the left and the right hand side. Really good shot from distance, dribbling, not fantastic going backwards and defending, but he's one to watch out for the future. I would like to see him do a Gareth Bale and get pushed permanently into a forward position, because I don't like him defending, but we'll see. Southampton's Bazunu, the goalkeeper, I thought that he was sensational when I watched a Southampton match a couple of weeks ago when I was doing this PowerPoint. Gallagher of Chelsea, he's not had enough game time, but when he comes on, he's got extremely high energy, and to be getting in a Chelsea team at that age is something, with all the money that they've got. Number 7, Gnonto for Leeds. He's aggressive, he's got amazing dribbling and running skills, he's so fast. I saw him play against Nottingham Forest today, and he was Leeds' best player on the park, just fantastic. Another one from Leeds, Somerville, he went through that scoring spurt a couple of weeks back, months I suppose, beating Liverpool at Anfield as well with one of the goals. I think, I'd never heard of him before. I think he's a fantastic acquisition. Arsenal's Nketiah, I know he's not that young anymore, but people still treat him like he's a youngster, and I think with the absence of Jesus, he's really come into his own and proved that they didn't need to buy a big striker, that they've already got one in their ranks, and it's him. Okay, next up, Gakpo of Liverpool. Now, I'm using him as a potential. Oh, sorry, actually, Mudryk of Chelsea and Gakpo of Liverpool. They're both really tricky wingers. I love that. I know Mudryk has had a bit of a poor start, as has Gakpo, but I think over the next 12 months they are going to be world-class potential acquisitions for their clubs, and hopefully they'll be lighting up the Premier League for years to come, as will, hopefully, as a Welshman, Brennan Johnson for Forest. He scored a sensational goal today to win the match for his team. He scored 7 now this season. He's 21, and he's leading the line for a Premier League side fighting for survival. Everyone on Twitter who's Welsh and I follow wants him to now step up and start regularly for the Welsh national team now that Bale has retired. He's a natural replacement. So yeah, I hope that he can try and fill the massive gap for Wales that Bale has left. And number 1, Garnacho, unlucky not to go to the World Cup in the first place with Argentina. Watching him play is so refreshing. He's got that South American aggression and just, absolute need to do well. Got to be first to the ball, got to tackle it, shoot from anywhere. So fast, so talented. He's going to be an absolute wonder, and I can't wait to see him progress in the Premier League. Okay, so tell me what you think of my my choices? Are they ridiculous? Am I crazy? Am I spot on? What do you think? And let me know if you want me to do this for another league, or if you want me to do some of